G'day guys, welcome to this video. Joining me today, I have Glasgow, our community manager. Glasgow, welcome mate. Do you want to give us a bit of an introduction about yourself?
Hey, hi guys, I'm Mark Glasgow. I am a community manager for Ergo, as well as taking on various tasks across the ecosystem and a member for the Ergo Foundation.
Lovely to have you on board, mate. And in this video, we're going to talk about the year that was in Ergo. So some notable sort of achievements that's happened throughout the ecosystem, growth across our socials and the development side of things. So let's kick things off with the growth of our social side. Maybe you can give us some numbers and rundown of how things have progressed throughout the year on our socials.
Yeah. So the one I've probably been most involved with is Reddit, because when I joined, there wasn't really much presence there. And we had a subreddit, Ergo Platform org, but it was kind of inactive, just cushy posting long posts now and again that people weren't reading. So I managed to get keys off him, started that up, and I focused on that primarily at the start, built that up, and it grew very quickly at the start when we're in the kind of midst of the bull run, and that mania season was here. So we're up to 20,000, just over 20,000 members now. The bulk of that was from May to November, which I think we've done about 15,000, and then it's just kind of slowly ticked over since then. On top of that, we've also got all the telegrams, as I'm sure you know. There's about 50 telegrams, a big massive Discord with them all bridged, all the telegrams bridged to it now, so it kind of has a conversation between it. I think they're going pretty well. It's kind of hard to do numbers for Telegram because there's just so many bots and spam. It's a full-time job trying to fight them. But the Discord has seen pretty good growth the past couple of months. A lot higher activation now, and people getting involved in the ecosystem, which is good.
I think it's been a really good idea having the two bridged as well, because you might have conversation on, say, Discord, and then the people on Telegram miss out, and then vice versa. So it's good to be able to have both chiming in. Yeah,
definitely. It's good not to have those barriers there. Maybe a bit annoying at first for people that are not familiar with the format. But after a while, you don't even notice anymore. It saves a lot of hassle because people answer each other's questions, and the community is a lot more kind of symbiotic and connected. So I think, that's been a good thing so far.
Yeah, most definitely. And from our developer side, you can kind of see the reflection of the growth of the dApps and tooling that's sort of developed. But can you give us some numbers on how many sort of community developers and then the core group as well that sort of progressed throughout the year?
Yeah. So the core group's kind of hard to define because, like, where does the core start and end? If we mean just the Ergo core reference client, there's maybe like 5 people active, and then you kind of go a bit further, and you've got the Explorer and all these services, and we're up to, on the core team, dev-wise, I think there's about maybe 10, 15. And then once you include marketing and stuff, we get 20, 25. And then you go out again to the out perimeter, and then there's contributors. So those are people that are active in the developer chats every week that you'll see on YouTube. And I think there's probably about 100 there, last I checked. But again, you'll get people posting updates with 5 people in their team who may not be on the Discord. And then you've got the community developer role, and that's just anybody that said they're a developer at some point and wants to get involved. And I think that's about 350 just now. So it's growing fast, and there's lots of different Discords starting up, all these different ecosystem projects, and they're hiring people. So you could spend all day just kind of tracking this and going over it because it's growing so fast.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed since I've started doing the developer update with Armenio is in that short amount of time, the amount of people that have sort of started jumping on there, and a lot of new faces, which is great to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely the Ergohacks have helped a lot. Built the documentation, because last year, even when someone would come in and try and learn something, they'd be dissuaded pretty quickly because there was nothing there to learn unless they actually spent a good amount of time digging through conversations on Discord. So we've got a documentation site and DECO, which has been great, decentralized collaboration. We've been making up educational material and teaching people ErgoScript and pushing the ecosystem forward.
Yeah, I think that can't be overstated, the importance of having all that documentation and then the education side of things as well. The docs.ergoplatform.com, .org that you've put together, that's an invaluable resource. So you've done a fair bit of work sort of compiling all that information. It's great.
Yeah, well, it's still very messy. I've just tried to get it all in one place to start with. And I've been going through, need to rewrite a lot of stuff because it's all kind of written in half Russian and kind of make sense of it and pull everything together. But yeah, it's definitely a lot better. But we'll have more people contributing through the course now that people actually know ErgoScript. We can actually get people writing some stuff because one of the biggest challenges was finding technical writers that understood the UTXO model and were native speakers and could actually explain it well. So hopefully that's a bit less of a challenge going forward.
Yeah, another great resource. So you did mention the Ergohacks there. We've had a number of Ergohacks throughout the year. I think it's 3, I believe, kicking off with Ergohack 2, which was in October of 2021.
Mm-hmm. So each one's kind of been great for building up this documentation, collecting resources, because a lot of the time you won't actually know that you need to find these resources until somebody comes in and asks a question, because things that core devs might be doing, it might just be natural to them. They won't think somebody would need a resource for that. So in Ergohack 2, the main ones we've got that are still going are ErgoLend, ErgoPad, the Subpooling project, which came from Ergohack 1 and is now in GetBlock Live, pulling a lot of miners from other places with these kind of incentives. Minotaur Wallet, and there's a few more like hypotenuse gamings and stuff. But yeah, that was our second hack. I think it followed me a couple of months after the first one, and each one's just kind of got bigger and better.
Yeah, so the big names coming out of Ergohack 2 there, ErgoLend, Minotaur Wallet, ErgoPad, Subpooling, like you just mentioned. That's pretty significant sort of growth that we've seen in just from that side alone. And then on to Ergohack 3, the privacy and security Ergohack. That was a really good one. There's a couple of notable projects coming from that also. The Delphi project, which is around Oracle pools, I believe.
Yeah, we got that was again bigger. I think there was maybe it was about 10 in that one.
Yep.
But that was run alongside Summit, wasn't it? So there was videos also published at the same time, which was good because we could post those to the people and the participants, keep them engaged. But yeah, we've seen loads of great projects with that again. Delphi project will be good in the future. Kind of teach people how to set up oracles easily, make that kind of process seamless. I think they're still kind of waiting on Oracle Pools 2 to be complete. But again, there was a project in the most recent Ergohack working on that. So hopefully they'll kind of come together in the next Ergohack maybe. The same way GetBlock did, because they were in the first Ergohack doing smart pools, somebody else completely, and it turned into subpooling. And eventually we got a service out of it.
Yeah, so a couple of other notable projects coming out of there. There was the Night Owl, so decentralized casino, Ergo DNS, Sky Harbor, Guap Swap, Aneta BTC, stealth addresses, multiple wallets. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was quite a big jump up, because I think the one before that was 6, and we had almost doubled, I think, because there was 3 or 4 people doing wallets as well.
Yeah,
but it's been great to see such big growth each time.
And then the exponential growth leading into Ergohack Fest that was just completed, and just waiting on some judging there. And the numbers were almost threefold of Ergohack 2.
Yeah, there was 16 people that ended, 16 teams that ended up submitting. But yeah, it was a big jump up again. We've seen a lot of interesting stuff. Because it was spread out over a month, I think that's maybe a bit of a better format. I think doing it on weekends a bit strenuous, especially if you don't know what you're doing. It takes a while to get to grips with that and kind of get to know people and know what you're doing. So I thought that format was a bit better. So I think I spoke to Angie the other day, and I think we've got results back for 3 of the judges. Still waiting on one. So hopefully that should be out soon.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I like the diversity of the projects as well. So say you've got Night Owl, which is a decentralized casino that just basically epitomizes DeFi. And then you've got developer tooling, the DNS side, the naming. There's a lot. The stealth addresses. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there was loads. There was loads of different, like almost all the different categories. I was trying to organise them all on the Discord yesterday. We even got somebody doing derivatives, which is the first tensile that's called. So yeah, it's been great seeing all the things build up. I've still not actually been through all of them properly just because there's so many. I was going through platform 137 the other day. That's quite interesting. So that's just like a one-click miner that you can download and install. We've got Oracle Pools 2, which I mentioned, so hopefully they'll become a bit more usable soon. The co-living DAO was interesting. I'm not sure what they actually done for the hackathon. I read the update the first 2 weeks. I've not seen the final submission, but that's basically they wanted to run a decentralized autonomous organization in London. So they'd buy like a block of flats and kind of collectively own it and pay the bills and stuff. So if somebody's dealing with the flat factors here, it seems idyllic. But yeah, there's loads of stuff for devs came out. As you said, the JS templates will be really useful because that kind of gives people a visual tool to step through and learn things. That's kind of exactly the thing we need going forward. Try to build up the education, pull as many people in as we can, and get one of these, each one of these hackathons to be bigger than the last.
Yeah, there's no doubt the next one's going to be even bigger. I could probably bet my house on that. So we've had a number of sort of other notable sort of things that happened throughout the year. I think one of the largest is the incorporation of the Ergo Foundation. So
yeah, I think we incorporated in December 2021, and that allowed us to kind of formalize a lot of the processes that were just kind of done casually before. So we hired a treasurer, YouTube manager, and various other roles. I kind of shifted, I shifted towards kind of making the branding a bit more cohesive with the redesigns. But yeah, it's been a well-needed thing last year.
That brought Dan on as a strategic advisor. As you said, a number of sort of roles that happen behind the scenes as well, which makes everyone's life a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good to have people working on these kind of things in the background, on all these different tasks. It's good to see the community kind of grow like that. How the ecosystem even, sorry.
Yeah. And having that official entity there to be able to provide counterparty risk and things for exchange listings and whatnot, it just opens the door to a lot of these opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We also took on some more devs. We hired that Mr. Still can't say his name, Mr. S, Android developer. Got Yori developer, got our legal opinion, marketing budget. I still try to get the bank account, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been a busy few months, certainly.
And one of the roles that you had a big part in is the redesign of the website. I have to say, it looks fantastic. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on sort of the ins and outs of how all that sort of came to fruition?
Yeah. Well, so we kind of the last website wasn't horrible or anything, but we were starting to get a few people on YouTube going through and saying, "Oh, I wish the site was better. Get so many more investors," and it was kind of getting a bit dated. So I spent a couple of weeks just over Christmas, kind of getting text together, trying to work on the voice for Ergo. So I done polls in the communities and Telegram and on Reddit, trying to get people's ideas of what they thought Ergo was, how it should represent itself going forward. And then I worked with the design firm. I think it was the start of January. So we spent, I think it was 2 weeks, just working on the design non-stop on Figma, getting that to where we wanted to get it. and then it was pretty much, it was great, yeah. And then we passed it over to the developer, and that took another month or two to get it all kind of working to the point where we're ready to launch it. And now it's live. And I think even though we're starting to kind of improve it iteratively, we're kind of working on a tech page to kind of break down Sigma protocols and other kind of complex concepts that may not be evident to people immediately. But as a base going forward, I think it's a great start. Now we've got the interactive roadmap and places to put news for the community and stuff. Yeah, I think it gives a better picture of what Ergo is to the first impression.
Yeah, the thing that I like about the website personally is it just gives a bit of a snapshot on overall. So when you first land on the page, you can kind of get a brief outline of what Ergo is, and then once you sort of start wanting to know a little bit more, all the information there is to be able to dive down into the depths of Ergo and the technical aspects of Ergo.
Yeah, even though there's not that many words in the site, it's quite light on words. You spend a lot of time kind of making sure those are the right words, and it was kind of keeping people on the site for the amount of time and answering any questions that we kind of think that would come to them. But yeah, I think it's done. I think it's done pretty well in that regard.
Yeah. So moving on, mate, we've I think it was last Ergoversary, we announced a couple of exchange listings. So they've been listed now, and we are on a couple of larger exchanges finally. So that came with KuCoin, Bitcoin.com. Indodax was our most recent one, and we do have another just waiting to get over the line at the moment.
Yeah, we've got one that we've been waiting for a while for. It's pretty much there. I won't give any updates on dates. I'll leave that privilege to Amelia or Dan, but it should be soon. And the volume from this one grants us access to another one in future. So this is just kind of a stepping stone. But yeah, it's a big good exchange, and soon, hopefully.
Yeah, that's standard response for Ergo. Soon.
Yeah. Well, it's just exchanges, just how they work. They can one week they can be responsive, and then other week they can just ghost you. You can get busy, and then they just have to put the dev somewhere else, and they just won't respond until they're willing, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it won't be much longer now.
Yeah, and it's a cool opportunity, like you mentioned as well. It does open the door to some more down the road, which hopefully that comes to fruition in the near future.
Yeah, we just need to build up our volume. It's crazy how low the volume is for Ergo, considering the size of the community, what's on the chain and stuff. But it's just because other chains, they may have a lot of DeFi lending, or just DeFi protocols, and then they connect to ETH, and you just get this massive TLV inflow. So it's kind of different building it up organically from scratch on a blockchain with no chains and no documentation.
Yep.
But yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones as well. You can see the history of the volume. If you duck over to CoinGecko, I remember when I first sort of ducked into Ergo, it was pretty low. And if you did the market buy, it would be a big green candle.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But like even compared to ones kind of the same market cap, we're quite low. But in spite of that, I think we were the top performer last year in DeFi. Yeah. I done about 2,000%. Went down 1,000% after that, but still, it was an explosive growth last year across all the ecosystem. Yeah,
quite a significant growth, and let's sort of jump into some of the dApps which contributed to that. I think most notably would be ErgoPad and ErgoDex, tying up the value or locking the value on the chain to be able to have that growth.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're the big one. And Anita BTC is also huge as well, just because it's half Cardano, and that will just put people in just for the fact that it's connected to Cardano. But they've been working away, improving their pools and staking solutions, and launching all these ideals and creating value for the chain. But we've seen a slow and steady rise in TLV over the past year or so. And we've also got Sigma USD. That's still got a huge chunk as well. That's not even counted in DeFi Llama. But yeah, it's growing fast. I think that will just continue to happen as more projects launch from these hackathons and start taking on TLV, we'll start seeing kind of more people coming in. So that was one of our biggest weaknesses probably when we crashed. There was no actual proper use on the chain yet. So once the speculative investor's gone, there's not many people left. The ones that are left aren't really using the chain, they're just supporting it. But we'll see that changing now with people actually using it and all these projects launching.
Yeah, there's lots. Obviously, the DEX is a big one, being able to swap tokens and having the IDOs from ErgoPad on there. It's pretty significant. It's great to see. They're obviously looking to go cross-chain as well.
I think that they announced an accelerate program as well the other week.
Yep.
So I didn't read too much into it, but it kind of looked like maybe a similar thing to what ErgoPad's offering to kind of kickstart even more projects. Because I'm sure there'll be no lack of projects that need to be kickstarted, whether it's through ErgoDex, ErgoPad, ErgoRaffle, or some other solution we've yet to create, the Ergo Fund.
Yeah, and now on to sort of the development tooling side of things. One thing that I like to see is the open source tooling. It just helps everyone throughout the ecosystem, but a lot of the analytical side of it as well. I think ErgoWatch and Azarus play a big part in that.
Yeah, ErgoWatch has been a great tool to kind of get a picture of the ecosystem. Before that, there wasn't really much. There's some graphs on the Explorer site, but ErgoWatch kind of gives a more kind of granular breakdown and tries to filter out exchanges and list TLV and smart contracts addresses. So it kind of gives a picture of the history of Ergo and how it's been used so far. Then Azarus it's aiming to be, I have forgot the actual pitch, but it's like a UTXO analytics framework. So it should be applicable to other UTXO projects as well.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. So moving on, one of the big things I think throughout the year as well was the governance of the miners being able to vote in favour of EIP 27, bringing that whole thing together, getting the miners on board, and then obviously those guys putting aside their short-term sort of mindset and profit for the longevity of the chain. It's great.
Yes, it's good that we managed to get full community support. It took a lot of kind of conversations across our socials over months and months. There was a few vocal opponents, but in the end, it wasn't enough to sway many miners to move over and vote against it. But it's good we're kind of seeing these governance tools developed by GetBlock, and more advanced tools like Suppling and stuff starting to appear now, which is great as well. But yeah, the governance is definitely one of the most kind of important aspects of Ergo. So in the past few weeks, I kind of went through and found the yellow paper that Christian made up a while ago, moved it over to the doc site. So there's a kind of overview of how the governance works for miners and what they can vote on and what they can amend. And I think that will need to be a more pivotal thing kind of going forward. To kind of educate miners on how they should govern the chain going forward, because a lot of them aren't used to it. You see comments on Reddit going, oh, they've got this interesting idea where they let miners decide, which is historically how proof of work works. It should work. Miners should decide. But it's just funny that it's so bizarre to people that we would think to give miners a bit more of a choice in how the chains run.
Yeah, well, ultimately they have a number of parameters that they can set. Obviously, if they vote in favour of what they want to do, there's some limitations into the extent of how far they can go at certain times. But overall, they have control of the chain. It's up to them to vote in favour of any changes. Yeah,
definitely. There's lots of stuff through the parameters, but through soft forks, you can pretty much do anything except for change the total supply.
Yep.
So if there's miners that are developers, they make a proposal and they get support, they can push through pretty much anything, which should be how it's run in the future.
Yeah, so that's touching on a number of sort of achievements throughout this past year. one thing that I'd like to sort of mention is say thanks to all the wallet developers. We went through a bit of a issue with one of the wallets, but then a number of community members have jumped on board, and then also Mr. Starfell just with the Ergo mobile wallet apps, and then he's doing a lot more with the Token J and escrow services, etc. So yeah, thank you to everyone who got involved on the wallet side of things. It's great.
Yeah, it's been people that are joining there won't realise how much better it makes having a kind of functional working wallets that you can rely on. Because there's a period where we just didn't have that, but then the kind of community bundled together and everybody just started working on wallets, and now we've got loads of them. So hopefully in a couple of months we've just got loads of bridges. The kind of same kind of scenario.
Yeah, and so that's a nice little segue as well, once again, into what's happening in the future for Ergo. So in this next year, what do you sort of see happening?
In this next year, well, lots of stuff. So we've got lots of D-apps. We've got the mixer tokenization sorting on 2020s. Is going to be airdropping mixer tokens. So it's future future Ergo Mix tokens to kind of make that community governed. So he'll be airdropping them. We've got a new mixing protocol that Christian Scala have been working on called Sigmaverse, which is supposed to be a bit better. We've got Ergolend, which we launch in XUSD. Ergo Team collective spending approaches. Paideia, which is the DAO tool set. They've got that card game, Blitz TCG. We've got people working on local exchange trading systems. We've got the ErgoDex launch on Cardano, bridges, and then we've got the infrastructure stuff with Pals and more Ergohacks. I think it's an Ergoversary or Ergo's V2, Sky Harbor. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Node 5.0.
Yeah, we've got GITC costing, which I think should be in about 6 months maybe, which I think it brings, I can't remember the exact number, so I won't say it, but it brings a speed boost to script execution, which make things run a bit more smoothly on chain. But yeah, there's loads happening over the next year.
It's exciting times ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Just I forgot something, but yeah, I think I've covered most things.
All right, guys. One thing also is the growth of NFTs on Ergo. I think we started off with Funiculum was one of the first major sort of releases, and that was just prior to sort of I think it was March or so of last year when that first launch went through. But then the growth of the NFT scene on Ergo is pretty big. So we've seen a different marketplace with Sky Harbor come on, and more development on the auction house, and that's brought in a lot more sort of artists throughout the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. It's been great to see Sky Harbor come into place, because even though Ergo Auctions is good, a lot of people just prefer buying things to bidding for them. So it kind of gives people that pathway, and they know it's the right collection. They don't have to worry about going to check hashes to see it, make sure it's not a scam, and they're not buying a fake Sigma Valley plot or whatever. Yep. So it gives people that kind of peace of mind, and it's a great thing to have in addition to Auction House. We're also waiting on Auction House, I think it'll be version 3. So when Unreal has been redesigning that for the past few months, there's been some screenshots released and look great. So that'll bring even more people in, as it makes it kind of more approachable. Because at the moment, Ergo Auctions is still a bit raw and might still put newcomers off. But yeah, it's getting there, yeah. And it's just been, if you look on Sigmaverse, there's just been a massive explosion in NFTs. There's just too many to track. Different projects, and get people using them in creative ways for gaming and governance and stuff. But yeah, it's been exciting to watch that develop over the past year.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned Sigmaverse.io. So we've seen a really significant growth on there. I think there was just a handful of listings, and once the everything was sort of compiled, I think we're up to around 100 or more than 100 listings on there now. I think it's 107, so it's pretty big.
Yeah, that's impressive, yeah. I need to have to go through and actually see I think by the time you actually go through and check each one out, there'll be more added, and it's just a kind of never-ending project. So you have to pick what you're going to dive into.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much stuff now on the community.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
So one of the big catalysts, I think, for Ergo moving forward into the next year for ecosystem growth would be bridges. And we have a number in development at the moment, one coming out of Ergohack being Sentient NFT. And then the Rosen Bridge, there's Susie still there. And yeah, it's pretty exciting to see the ecosystem grow and connect to different chains.
I think the Sentient NFT actually shifted for now. He wanted to wait until the ETH merge was done to make sure it was worthwhile building a bridge to the ETH chain. But yeah, he's still working on other things. He's got like level 2 idea, a layer 2 idea, but they're all on the documentation site. If anyone wants to check them out, just go to events and then Ergohack, and you can see them all listed with resources. But on top of that, we've also got Rosen Bridge, which is should connect us to any chain that has zero knowledge proofs. And then we've got the Sussy One Bridge, which is on testnet and being tested and should be live soon. I'm not holding my breath because we've been waiting for this one for a while, but I think it is finally getting there, which should connect us to the Phantom chain, last I heard, unless it's changed, and bring in USDC. So the USDC is backed 90% or something on Phantom. So it's a bit safer than bringing in USDT or something else, or UST. Yeah, so and on top of that, we've also we'll end up doing private swaps with other chains. But once we get these initial bridges, I think that'll be a big pull to pull people in. We can start wrapping tokens, and then once people realize they can wrap ETH or Bitcoin and mix it in Ergo Mixer better and cheaper than they could anywhere else, that'll put a lot of people in the community. We can start pushing out Sigma protocols to other UTXO chains through side chains and do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool, isn't it, to be able to do something like that? And everyone who you explain that's possible, any sort of token that is on Ergo is able to be mixed. It opens up a lot of use cases that others might not have thought about, and you see people's faces when you explain that. It's pretty exciting. Yeah,
definitely. That's one of the things I've been waiting for a while. But yeah, it would just allow us to bring a lot of Ergo functionality to other chains. And let people get involved in the ecosystem. I think it'd be a big pull for people and bringing in a lot of TVL, especially once we start pairing Sigma USD with USDCC and stuff. So I think that'll also help out our ecosystem in terms of securing Sigma USD protocol a bit more, make it a bit more useful. Once people can put in 10 grand, just let it sit on Ergo Dex, collect fees, and yield tokens, we'll get a lot more from that, I think.
Yep. And just finally, I think we should mention the UTXO Alliance that was formed throughout the year as well. That's in collaboration to bring research and a number of other initiatives into the ecosystem for expansion of UTXO frameworks and things.
Yeah, we've got a chat ongoing on Telegram, so supposed to the Discord, which has been good because we can speak to all the people in all the communities. It's not just devs, it's also community members, so anyone can join and give their opinion. Once we've got bridges, it becomes a bit more feasible to do. In fact, just on that, we'll go back to bridges. I forgot to mention the CCX bridge we're out soon. We've got to cover that. But the UTXO Alliance would be great because a lot of these chains have a similar ethos, and the UTXO model just makes sense to kind of collaborate. Outside of Cardano, I think the Nervos model is quite similar as well. So probably be some opportunity for collaboration there. And there's just a ton of good projects there. So yeah, we'll see what comes from it. But there's already been some good discussions in that chat. I'm sure at the start we'll see probably NFT swaps and some basic stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see what it matures into in the coming year or two.
Yeah, it's exciting times ahead. So I really look forward to the expansion of the ecosystem and attracting a little bit more hash rate from miners and get them involved in the ecosystem. And then also the development side of things and developer tooling, education, a number of dApps. It's exciting times. I'm really looking forward to this next year.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be chock-a-block. I think in the next few months, with both miners starting to look into Ergo, because you already see quite a big influx. Anytime Ergo moves up in profitability, you see most people jump over, start reading into Ergo. And the good thing about Ergo is that, well, profit miners might not care and won't do us any good. Any miner that reads into us is probably going to continue to read into us and quite likely to see. And I don't think we've got much competition there in terms of interest and actually doing active things that need solved.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up for the year that has been, and we've touched on the things that's sort of coming up into the future as well. Is there any last words you want to say to the community?
I would just say, for people that don't know how to get involved or maybe not be technical, just join the chats and start discussing, because you may not realise where you can contribute until that happens, and even just having discussions is helpful and helps push things forward. And there's a chat for every interest pretty much. Yeah, so come on, get involved. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, you just touched on, I think you mentioned there's 50 sort of channels at the moment. So it's a bit harder to narrow things down at first, but you do find your own little niche and then you start expanding from there. It's great.
Yeah. And because they're all bridged, you should join one, just join the Ergo chats, Telegram, or just join the Discord, and then you'll be connected.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for this video. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Glasgow. So thanks once again. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.